A truth you rarely hear said plainly when an empath finally gets fed up. They stop being the soft pillow for a narcissist's swollen ego. They become a cool mirror that reflects the shadow. And when shadow is looked at directly, it steps back. In America, where be nice functions like social liturgy, many empaths have paid with silence, with peacekeeping smiles, with long nights, spinning in guilt for daring to set a boundary. Depth psychology shows that what you call kindness may be only a mask. The compressed energy behind it is the soul's real life. Do you recognize the moment you betray yourself, nodding yes, while every cell in you says no? Imagine an inner stage. Front and center stands the persona, polite, agreeable, eager to rescue everything. In the wings waits the shadow. Things unsaid, tears swallowed, the small stabs in your heart you pretend not to feel. The narcissist survives on an audience. The empath, afraid to hurt people, volunteers to be the audience for the whole show. But one day you burn out. Burnout is the soul's alarm clock. In Jung's language, it's an invitation stop striving to be appropriate. Be whole. The moment you face your own shadow, anger, fatigue, the longing to be respected, you stop shining fantasy light onto the other person. The magic trick snaps. The power game loses electricity. This doesn't turn you cruel. It gives your compassion a spine. A fed-up empath isn't bitter. They're awake. They learn life's two beats, a soft heart and firm boundaries. They relearn the word no, not as a hammer, but as a door quietly closing to keep the house within at peace. They don't try to fix the narcissist. They rewrite the unconscious contract with themselves. I will not pay my soul into any role. When the supply runs out, the other person's grand illusion has nothing left to cling to. Here's the real danger for them, not for you. You're no longer easy to manipulate. You stand in your center like a quiet librarian who knows which book belongs, on which shelf, who may borrow, and what must be returned. You might ask, how do I walk that path without swinging to extremes? Jung called it the law of reversal. Push one side too far and it snaps to its opposite. Wisdom isn't at either pole, it's an integration. Ahead will light 5 foundations: how the mask and the shadow hook into each other, why projection keeps you feeding the loop, how a mature animist becomes a clear protective voice, how to bring extreme energy back to the middle path, and finally why individuation, becoming yourself, makes every power bargain meaningless. If some deep place in your chest just sighed with relief, that's a good sign the soul has heard you. Come with me into the next part, not to hunt anyone, but to illuminate the quiet agreements that have kept you captive so that as sovereign you can step forward, calm, and no longer asking permission to exist. There's a silent contract many sensitive Americans sign without reading the fine print. Be polite, be pleasant, be patient. That contract dresses you in a beautiful coat called the persona, the nice, reasonable, ever helpful face. But right behind that coat waits the shadow, a storeroom of unsaid no's, sugar-coated anger, and needs abandoned like unclaimed luggage. Even narcissists have a persona, a dazzling approval-hungry shell, and a massive shadow they refuse to see. When those two masks meet your limitless empathy and their endless hunger, something clicks like interlocking gears. The loop begins. From a Jungian view, persona is necessary. It gives us social language and shared rules. But it's still a mask, not the face. Eventually, the mask of infinite niceness cracks. The shadow behind you starts panting, demanding civil rights. I want respect. I want to be heard. I want to say no. The moment you're too tired to nod one more time, a deep negotiation begins. Keep feeding the illusion or come back to your center. Look at everyday scenes. Monday stand-up, you start to speak. You're cut off, you smile and go quiet, maybe next time. Lunch, a coworker asks, can you just proof this real quick? You say yes, work late, skip dinner, heart racing. You don't want to be the bad one. But who's actually being wronged when you betray your own heartbeat? Friday date night, 1:17 a.m., text you up, you're exhausted, but you reply, yeah, I'm awake. Next morning, you're angrier at yourself than at them. Shadow makes a tally, said yes when the body said no. Repeat it often enough and the shadow stops being a burglar. It becomes the hidden landlord flipping your lights on and off. Thanksgiving dinner, mom whispers. Don't make a fuss. Keep the peace. You swallow. I'm not okay. In the family line, the persona of good child gets passed down like a medal. The shadow of permission to be different gets boxed up in the attic. No wonder empaths become expert repair techs fixing other people's feelings, smoothing a room's discomfort, and sweetening their own anger with candy. But if everything is smooth too clean, nothing feels alive. Meet Elena, 34, a marketer in Seattle. Known as the office angel, first to answer urgent emails first with tissues when someone cries. She's dating a man fluent in praise, sparse on follow-through. Each time he forgets, Elena decides he's just busy and compensates by being even nicer. One night she dreams she's wearing a smiling mask while a hand yanks the strap so hard her skin burns. She wakes with a stiff neck. Her body has spoken, for her soul endurance has a limit. At lunch, Elena sits in her car, turns off the radio, and does a tiny practice mask inventory. She lists her top roles, the easy one, the fixer, the no worries, I've got it machine. Then she writes the price: poor sleep, rushed meals, pounding heart, a feeling of invisibility. Tears come, not dramatic, just a small truth finally named. Once truth has a name, illusion loses power. That afternoon, a colleague interrupts her again. Elena places a hand on the table and says slowly, I wasn't finished. The room pauses for one beat. No one dies. No storm. Afterward, a gust of guilt chills her. This time, she doesn't scold herself. Hand to chest, she asks, was I honest with me? Yes. Maybe this is what a fed-up empath learns: first kindness with a spine. Jung suggests a dialogue with the unconscious when an image keeps returning. The mask, the hand on the strap, invite it to sit down. That night, Elena turns off the lamp and whispers, who keeps pulling my mask? A warm, gravelly voice replies, I'm the gatekeeper. I protect the door. Which door? The door to the room where you tell the truth. Maybe the shadow isn't the enemy. Maybe it's the tired guard who's watched you let everyone come and go while you wait outside on the porch. From then on, Elena starts a 2-minute body scan each morning. 3 questions. Am I fed? And am I breathing? Am I agreeing with my mouth while my body tightens? If the third answer is yes, she postpones one promise, an email, a call to keep a scrap of center for herself. Some will call that selfish. But selfishness isn't prioritizing yourself. Selfishness is forcing others to live your life for you. Here, Elena simply takes responsibility for her life and hands back to others what's theirs. Try this right now. Open notes and write this sentence 3 times, changing the ending each time. Today, I will not betray myself by wishing. Let your body fill in the blank, texting back at 1 a.m., working unpaid overtime, laughing when I'm insulted. Then pick one to do differently in the next 24 hours. You're training your nervous system in a new habit. Boundaries don't kill anyone. Boundaries feed you. Important: when the mask drops, there's often a rebound wave, the urge to torch everything, to clap back, to ghost. This is where you need the double beat: compassion plus a boundary. You can stop fixing others' lives without shaming them. You can say, I'm not available after 10 p.m. and without a lecture. You can leave an unhealthy argument and let silence do the work silence does. A dangerous empath isn't dangerous because they attack. They're dangerous because they stop powering the game. Join our practice in the comments. Post 1 micro boundary you'll keep for 7 days. Examples: phone sleeps in the living room, or I'll say, I need time to think, instead of yes on the spot. When you write it, you let hundreds of others know they're not alone. And if a line here landed for you, drop a reminder that the key stays with you now. Next time we'll enter projection, how empaths often hand their light to narcissists and how narcissists dump their darkness onto you. We'll learn how to unplug the projector. When you stop projecting, the theater goes quiet, the grand drama loses power, and you're no longer cast as the savior in a play that isn't yours. See you in part 2, where we switch the lights on, trace the wiring, and gently pull the plug. If the last part was the mirror that strips off our mask, this part is the projector inside the mind. Jung called it projection when consciousness isn't yet brave enough to own a part of itself. It throws that part onto someone else, like film onto a wall. Sometimes it's light, We stick kindness, wisdom, and potential onto someone because we haven't owned them in ourselves. Sometimes it's shadow. We stick selfishness, deceit, or aggression onto them because we fear those seeds live in us too. In the US, between the empath and the narcissist boardrooms, iMessage, Tinder, to even the holiday table, this dance plays out daily. The empath often projects potential. He just needs to grow a bit more. The narcissist often projects shadow. You're too sensitive, you're crazy. One person brings the stage lights, the other a darkened theater. Both perform and both end up exhausted. Remember Elena? She believed her boyfriend would mature soon because she could see the wounded boy inside him. She projected her healer heart onto him and quietly became his unpaid therapist. Every night he texted, "Sorry, busy." She wrote a fresh scene to keep hope alive. He has so much potential. But potential can be a sweet drug. It blurs reality. In Jung's language, that was Elena's unlived light decisiveness, boldness thrown outward. She was hoping he would be brave instead of her. Now flip the camera. The narcissist often throws what he refuses to face: shame, smallness, powerlessness onto the empath. You hear you're selfish exactly when you set the minimum boundary. You're called crazy the moment you name a hard truth. That isn't only manipulation, it's shadow finding its mark into your heart that's already trained to carry weight. And you, with your rescue reflex, take their shadow like a donation box. You carry their shame, their irresponsibility, even their habit of breaking promises. You stagger under the load, they walk away light. How do we stop the loop? Jung doesn't tell us to cut people off the way we cut a wire. He teaches withdrawing projections, like turning off the projector so the room returns to neutral light. Start with one undramatic question. Does this belong to me? Drop that into your actual American day. Tuesday morning, Slack pings. Need the deck by 3 p.m. Your chest tightens, brain scripts. They don't respect me. Pause. Inhale, exhale. Ask, what part of this is my film? Maybe it's an old, silent fear from childhood silence meant you'd done something wrong. So you reply undramatic. Can we hop on for 10 minutes to clarify expectations? If they're curt, their shadow appears. But you didn't throw your film onto them. You checked reality, set a boundary, and kept your nervous system off the stage. Thursday afternoon. You're in the school pickup line. A Facebook post makes you flare. Someone mocks overly sensitive people, slicing right into your personal scar. You're about to drop a firebomb comment. Pause. Ask, what part of me isn't being seen right now? Maybe it's legitimate anger at one specific person, not the entire internet. You close Facebook, open notes, right? I'm angry with X because Y. That's unplugging the projector, not fueling the bonfire, but carrying the flame home to warm, not to scorch. Saturday night. He texts at 1:02 a.m. You up? Before you'd project light, he's thinking of me. Maybe he has feelings. This time you look at behavior, not potential. Ask, if the bare truth is this person only invests when it's convenient, what do I want? You don't need a sermon. You just pull the plug on your private romance reel. Your answer might be silence. Silence isn't punishment. Silence is ending the subsidy. There's a subtler trap. Sometimes the other person doesn't just throw shadow onto you, they recruit you to play it. Modern Jungians call this close to projective identification. The narcissist insults you, waits for your blow-up, then says, see? You're the unhinged one. You've been cast as the crazy, so their story has props. The exit is not taking the role. This is not easy. Your nervous system learned to react in half a second. But if you can breathe, return to your body, lay both palms on the table, and say one line, I'll talk when we're both calm. You've done what a dangerous empath knows to do. Don't join the play. A simple, deep practice, 3 minutes each night to write 3 lines of film. Today I cast A as victim, hero, villain. The feelings my movie stirred in me were guilt, anger, hope. What part of me is asking to be owned? If you wrote, I cast him at the great potential, the part to own may be the capacity to choose yourself rather than waiting for a miracle. If you wrote, I cast her as controlling, the part to own may be your fear of abandonment that makes any reminder feel like a threat. Each withdrawal is one power cord unplugged. The room grows less dark. I'm not promising this will change the other person. Jung never promised that. But one change is guaranteed: inner autonomy. You're no longer yanked by every flare of light and patch of shadow out there. You can look at your partner and see who they are, not who you need them to be. You can look at your boss and see the company's priorities, not a verdict on your human worth. You can look at your parents and see their history, not your final sentence. From that ground, decisions get clearer. Boundaries get simpler. Try a Jungian image your body will remember. Close your eyes for 1 minute. Picture an old film projector rattling. Throwing someone's face onto the wall. Walk up, gently, pulls the plug. The sound stops. The wall is just a wall. You're not denying who they are. You're stopping what isn't theirs from being pasted onto them. Now turn around. In your hands is a film reel labeled my voice, my anger, my desire, my fear. Carry the reel inside, set it on the table and say, okay, we'll watch this together. That's when shadow stops wrecking and starts speaking. As a community practice, share one short line in the comments. I pulled the plug when. Fill in one concrete moment from this week, a late night call, a social media flare, an extra work ask. When you write, it isn't only a ritual for yourself, it's a stepping stone for someone behind you. We're travelers in the same forest. Your torch helps someone else see their path. And if this work stirs too much old memories, buried trauma, reach for a trustworthy guide, a therapist, a support group, a present friend. Being an empath does not mean going alone. Projection isolates. Seeing truth connects. Next, we'll meet an inner ally Jung called the animus in women. The inner logos, the clear voice, the will, the capacity to draw lines. After you've withdrawn projections, a space opens. That space needs language and structure so it doesn't get refilled with the old script. The young animus can be a harsh critic. The mature animus becomes the gentle advocate of your soul. In part 3, we'll practice hearing that spine voice, how it writes a 2-sentence email without excess apology, how it says no, like softly closing a door, how it pours just enough light into shadow so you can see the path. If you're ready to move from unplugging the old film to writing a new script, meet me there. Your words will learn to walk straight. Your heart will learn to sit in a chair with a strong back. When you unplug the projector of projection, the inner room goes strangely quiet. That silence isn't a scary void. It's a field where a long uninvited ally shows up, the animus, the inner logos, the voice that discerns names, things organizes and protects the soul's boundaries. For many empaths in America, the animus first appears as a critic, sharp-tongued, perfectionistic, speaking in the register of people who once shamed us, but that's only a draft. Once recognized and educated, the mature animus becomes a gentle advocate, speaks little, speaks, precisely speaks for truth, not for a win. Let's go back to Elena. After she learned to unplug projection, she began to notice little open spaces in her day. The beat before replying to a late-night text, the second after being interrupted, the pause in front of the morning mirror. In those spaces, 2 voices fought for the mic. The old voice, immature animus, snapped, idiot. Why didn't you push back? The new voice, mature animus, was slow. What's the truth? What's mine to carry? What's the shortest, clearest thing I can say? Elena noticed the first voice clenched her heart. The second softened her shoulders. Her body became the compass. In a Zoom meeting, she saw her name slapped on a deliverable no one had discussed. The critic jumped. There you go, letting people use you. Elena grounded her hand on the desk and let the mature animus speak. In chat, she wrote, for clarity, A is my current scope. B would require added resources. Can we confirm who owns B3 sentences? No over-apologizing, no passive aggression, no put-downs. She didn't swing a sword. She drew a straight line. Another night, her ex sent a long, syrupy voice note. The immature animus prodded clap back. List every one of his mistakes. The mature animus asked, what is true today? True, Elena's piece didn't involve clock-watching anyone. True, there was no room left for murky compromise. She replied, I'm clear on what I need in a committed relationship. Our paths are different. Then she set the phone down and cooked herself a real dinner. When the mature animus speaks, action becomes simple. From a Jungian angle, the animus has many faces, the critic, the professor, the judge, the companion, the builder. If you identify with it, you'll pronounce verdicts and turn truth into a hammer. If you relate to it, the animus hands you language, structure, and principles like an architect raising a frame so the heart's house can stand in the wind. The difference is attitude. The critic speaks from fear and shame. The advocate speaks from clarity and respect. Here are 3 practices to build a spine without losing warmth right in the reality of American life. The animus agreement, 5 minutes every Monday morning. Write a mini work contract with your mature animus. Role, you guard my time, review my words, and advocate when I need clarity. Boundaries, you may not insult me, sever me from my feelings, or turn me into a courtroom. Benefits, I'll give you data, time, and sleep. Sign it. Rituals teach the nervous system that a new order has begun. The 3-tier no-voice practice. Tier 1, no. Tier 2, not right now. Tier 3, here's what works for me. Say each in the mirror, slow, warm, decisive. In U.S. workplaces, translate to text, I'm not available for that. Not this week. Here's what I can do. Time. Skip the apologizing emoji. Add structure. The 2-sentence email before you hit send. Sentence 1, state the objective fact. Sentence 2, set a boundary or make a concrete proposal. Example, we agreed the scope was A. For B, we'll need 5 extra hours or a separate airport owner. If pushed after hours, my availability ends at 5 p.m. Let's pick this up tomorrow at 9 a.m. 2 sentences, let the animus work without a speech. Technique, must walk with warmth. The mature animus doesn't freeze the heart, it gives the heart a frame. You can set a boundary and still protect the other person's dignity. At a family dinner, when a joke goes too far, you don't have to scold. Smile and say, that topic's uncomfortable for me. I'm changing it. At the office, when a teammate slides work onto your plate, I'd like to help and my schedule is full. I recommend A, who can support this piece. A strong empath isn't the one who talks harshly. It's the one who speaks with a backbone. Another everyday scene, you're a night shift nurse in Boston, exhausted, and someone asks you to swap at the last minute. The old you wants to rescue, the new you wants to keep. The mature animus checks the biology, your body needs sleep. You reply, I can't trade tonight, patient safety depends on rest. I can look at next week. That's not just a personal boundary. It's professional ethics. Logos protects eros, order protects life. Worried the animus will make you cold, fair fear. But firmness isn't meanness. Try a body landing before hard words plant your feet. Breathe hand to chest. Ask 3 things. What's true? What's my intention? What's the shortest sentence that says it? When the body joins your voice, lowers your tempo, slows. People feel safe even when the message is clear. Let's use this community as a practice room for the mature animus. Drop 1 spine sentence you'll use this week under 15 words. Specific, not attacking. I'll reply after I check my calendar. I'm not ready to discuss that topic. Let's get a written agreement before we start. When you post yours, you hand someone else a sentence they can carry into their life. Small sentences stacked over time pour a foundation for a well-ordered self. Watch out for a common trap. Once people touch the power of logos, they can slide into icy rationalization, using logic to dodge, feeling rules to punish. Jung called the swing to the opposite extreme enantiodromia. If you let the animus run unchecked, you become a preacher of principles, turning every house into a court. You stop being soft enough to listen and only stay sharp enough to cut. That's not maturity. That's the narcissist's twin in a different suit. Warning lights are obvious. Your truth mirrors connection. Your boundaries become weapons. Clarity arrives without kindness. When that happens, return to the double rhythm. One hand holds principle, the other holds the heart. To keep balance, try the bridging gesture. After any hard boundary, add 1 small warmth. Thanks for hearing me. I appreciate your effort, or a steady nod. This isn't guilt-soothing. It's a sign of wholeness. I don't have to be cruel to be clear. When animus and heart clasp hands, boundaries become art. Go deeper with active imagination. Picture a quiet library. On the table, folders labeled Work, Love, Family, Time. Invite your inner advocate to the table. Ask which folder gets priority this week. What sentence needs writing? Which meeting should I cancel? Let him arrange the order and then follow it. Consistency is the fastest way to educate the mature animus. He trusts you when you do what you write. If you grew up where silence is golden, speaking may trigger shakes. Don't force yourself into oratory. Start with short sentences in calendar language. In U.S. culture, clarity is respected more than you think. And remember, you don't owe long explanations. Boundaries don't need a lawsuit, they just need to be spoken. I'd love to hear your voice in the comments. Give your mature animus a simple human name, David Sam Min, and write one sentence he'll say for you this week. We'll read, learn from each other, and see that under every clear sentence is a heart that's done betraying itself. And then once logo stands steady, something subtle often happens. The energy at the extremes starts to reverse. You used to be too gentle then, too hard, too accommodating then, too forceful. Jung's law again, enantiodromia, go too far one way and you'll snap to the other. How do we avoid living at the poles and step into the center where strength and tenderness coexist? In part 4, we'll cross that bridge, spotting flip signs, releasing pressure without losing fire, and setting new rhythms, sleeping, eating, working, loving, so the soul no longer has to steal someone else's life to feel alive. Keep going, the far bank isn't cold. There your boundaries become like a row of trees, solid trunks, real shade, and room for others to rest, yet no one can cut your roots again. Once you've found a voice with a backbone, a strong wind will sweep through the inner life, the urge to overcorrect. Jung called this law enantiodromia. Every extreme held too long swings into its opposite. The empath who was too gentle may suddenly turn too hard. The one who always endured now craves revenge. The person who said yes to everything suddenly wants to say no to everyone. The pendulum swings wide, the bell tolls loud, and suddenly you realize you've become a colder version of the very person who once hurt you. Don't panic. The psyche is self-adjusting, saying, unconscious is compensating for one-sided attitudes. Our task is not to drag the pendulum back to where it was, nor to freeze it at the new extreme. Our task is to invite it to pause at the center where strength and tenderness coexist. Take Elena after a few weeks of practicing boundaries. She began saying no, clearly writing 2-sentence emails, cutting off projections. Then one day she swung too far, canceling 3 friend meetups in a row because I don't want anyone demanding from me, replying to colleagues with curt texts that caused misunderstandings, blocking her ex without a word. That night, sitting alone in her kitchen, Elena felt not free but lonely. The animus had built a frame, but eros, the warm current of connection, had dried up. This is enantiodromia. You didn't fail, you're just learning to drive a new car, and your foot is heavy on the gas. What's needed is braking, balancing, not returning to the old car. Jung said, any conscious attitude once too one-sided will summon the unconscious to balance it. Live only by heart and the mind will knock at the wall. Live only by rules and the heart will pound against it. Wisdom lies not at the poles but in the rhythm. Here are practices to help you find that rhythm in very American contexts. Busy schedules, overflowing inboxes, family holidays, and relationships that require both warmth and clarity. 1. The body barometer. Before any hard decision, saying no, leaving. Blocking pause 60 seconds and scan your body, forehead, neck, shoulders, chest, belly. If your shoulders rise to your ears, jaw clenches, breath is shallow, that's a sign you're at an extreme. Delay the decision for 24 hours. The center feels different. Shoulders drop, chest opens, breath lengthens. When the body is soft, words are enough. Don't trust every thought and alarm. Trust the signals when the body has landed. 2. The 24-hour rule for major choices. Enantiodromia makes us want to cut off now just to escape discomfort. The 24-hour rule isn't about prolonging pain. It's about sparing regret. Delay the breakup text, the resignation email, the explosive reply by 1 day. In that time, write 2 drafts, 1 warm, 1 firm. The final message should be warm, firm, short, respectful, structured. Example: I value what we shared and I need a relationship with clear commitment. I stop here. 3. Micro repairs after boundaries. Boundaries are not knives, they are frames. After setting one, add a micro gesture to preserve connection. Thanks for respecting this. I'll review next week, or even a nod. In American workplaces, this reduces passive-aggressive misunderstandings, keeping relationships professional yet human. Or the biorhythm ritual, sleep, salt, sun steps. Much of enantiodromia is biological lack of sleep, excess, salt, sugar, caffeine, too little sun, too little movement, shrink the nervous system's tolerance. This week, don't aim for perfection, just add one habit, sleep 15 minutes earlier, walk 10 minutes in sunlight, cut one stimulant, add one glass of water. Logos order protects Eros life. Strong boundaries are fed by the body. 5. The two hands exercise, fire and water. Pick a tough situation, a colleague dumping work, an ex texting late, a relative mocking. Write 2 columns, fire what you want to say in anger. Water what your heart wants to preserve. End with a sentence blending both. I won't take on more of this, fire, and I value your effort, water. Practice aloud. You are teaching your mouth and heart to sing in harmony. 6. The sword sheathing ritual. After victory. When you succeed at a hard boundary, adrenaline lingers. Sheathe the sword, walk slowly. 5 minutes. Take a warm shower. Place a hand on your chest and whisper, "It's done." Otherwise, you'll get hooked on the high of winning and prolong battles unnecessarily. The center is not in the trench. The center is at home. 7. Face the grief beneath anger. Many extreme no's hide sorrow, regret for lost time, youth, forgotten love unanswered. Give 10 minutes a week to a small morning ritual. Play sad music. Write an unsent letter, let tears fall. When grief is honored, the pendulum stops pounding the table, it sits down. So how does this look in daily life? Monday morning, your boss hands you a last-minute project. The pendulum flares, "I'm not a robot." The center responds. Our agreed scope is A. For project B, we need 5 more hours or a new owner. You send the warm, firm sentence, then drink water. Take 60 steps, breathe deeply. You preserve both work and soul. Wednesday night, Thanksgiving? Near your aunt jokes about your weight. The pendulum wants to snap. The center says, "This topic makes me uncomfortable. Let's switch." Then you turn to ask your grandfather about his favorite song. You didn't let the joke own the table. You redirected the flow. Friday midnight, your phone lights up at 1:11. Man, the pendulum wants to block. The center sets it down, switches to sleep mode, replies in the morning. I don't text after 10 p.m. If you want to meet, let's schedule 2 days ahead. You kept your rhythm, not just your pride. You'll notice the center sounds different. It doesn't yell, doesn't lecture, it's clear. And when you're in the center, the narcissist loses leverage because they can't grip either end of the pendulum. You neither submit nor wage war, you are sovereign. This is danger in the best sense, no longer easy prey for flattery or spite. Try a brief Jungian visualization. You stand on a wooden bridge at dusk. To the left, a sea of fire too hard. To the right, a sea of water too soft. In the middle, a cool breeze. Name your center with one word. Steady, bright light, clear. Write it in your palm or set it as your phone wallpaper. Each time the pendulum tugs, look at the word. It is your password back home. Our community can be a training ground for center. In the comments, share one balancing ritual you'll practice this week and add, for example, 10-minute walk after each tough email, 24-hour rule before big choices. Warm, firm sentence for Thanksgiving family talk. By writing it, you not only help yourself, you lay a stepping stone for hundreds of fellow empaths learning to still their pendulum. A gentle warning before we close: if you swing too far and find yourself too cold, too sharp, too harsh, don't scold yourself. Every new skill passes through clumsy stages. Repair small, don't self-destruct. Send a clarifying text. Let me rephrase yesterday. What I meant was, smile at yourself. Sleep an hour earlier. The center doesn't demand perfection. It only asks you to return. And now, as the pendulum learns to pause, the final door of this journey opens. Individuation, the path of becoming whole, where you stop being a side character in anyone's story, even your own old one. In part 5, we'll assemble all the pieces we've gathered: shadow that speaks, projections, withdrawn, animus, matured pendulum, wrested into a living picture, you acting from the self. I'm off. I'll show you how to switch off the stage lights of every power play and step into daylight with a map, values, rhythms, and relationships that truly nourish. If your heart just sighed with relief, that's the sign you're ready. I'll see you in the next part, where peace is not an empty gap, but a home whose doors open and close by your own hand. Picture dawn breaking over the shoreline. The water is calm now, no longer roaring like the old dreams. Elena stands there holding a rusty key in her hand, a symbol of the no she has learned of the projections she has withdrawn of an animus matured of a pendulum that has learned to pause. But what comes next is not fireworks, not a glittering triumph. It is a new stillness, a voice deeper than ego the self. For Jung, individuation is not about becoming a better version of me. It is about returning to the center where every fragment, light and shadow, tenderness and firmness are woven into a life that is ordered, warm, and self-possessed. When the self takes the wheel, you no longer need to prove yourself. You simply choose. The self differs from the ego because it doesn't run on scarcity or display. The self is like a conductor, never playing every instrument, but bringing the whole orchestra into harmony. You know the self is present when three qualities arrive together: clarity without drama, warmth without softness, stillness. That is also decisive. Old powers, flattery, guilt, sulking lose their charge because you've pulled the plug. So what does the self look like in everyday American life? Monday morning, Elena enters a meeting with her salary proposal. Ego wants to deliver a long speech to secure her rightness. Fear wants her to run. Self speaks briefly. Here are my measurable contributions from the past 12 months. Here is the market rate. I propose X salary within Y range. Calm voice, precise words, no pleading eyes. If the answer is no, self schedules a review date or chooses to walk away not out of anger, but out of loyalty to truth. Wednesday dinner. A relative makes a joke that cuts too deep. Ego wants to strike back. Persona wants to laugh it off. Self says that subject makes me uncomfortable. I won't join that conversation. Then pivots. Uncle, tell us your favorite memory with grandpa. Instead of trying to control people, self holds the space. Life keeps flowing. Weekend night. A late message pings at 1:07 a.m. Ego wants to rage. Loneliness wants to open the door. Self consults, body and values. I honor connection that is planned and sincere. Midnight texts don't match that. Silence, sleep. In the morning if needed, self replies warmly yet firm. If you'd like to meet, schedule 2 days ahead. If not, I'll stop here. Then Elena takes a 10-minute walk in the sun, feeding her body so her words can grow roots. Individuation doesn't stay in the head. It incarnates in habits. Here are small but symbolic rituals, the language the unconscious understands, so you can live from the self instead of sliding back into performance. The inner round table. 15 minutes every Sunday. Imagine a round table. Invite your inner parts. Persona, politeness. Shadow, emotional data. Animus, structure. Inner child, play. Caretaker, care with self presiding. Ask, what does each need this week? Shadow needs rest. Animus needs 2 deep work blocks. Inner child needs 1 dance. Then schedule 3 commitments. To place something in time is to create psychic order. The value triangle: truth, time, tenderness. Every decision should touch at least 2. A hard message: choose truth plus tenderness. An overloaded schedule: choose time, pause, truth, a sensitive family matter. Choose tenderness plus time. This keeps you from drifting into impulse. The gold and lead ledger. Each night write 2 lines: gold when you acted from self, a clear sentence, a real meal. Lead when you slipped, a blow up, a false yes. Don't scold. Ask what symbol will turn tomorrow's lead into gold. Jung taught that transformation happens when consciousness meets symbol. This is exactly that. The 3 gates. Before big words pass them through, is it true? Is it needed? Is it mine to say? If not, pause. Self is never rushed. The right of permission. Once a month, light a candle and write, I am allowed to want. 10 things: sleep, fair pace, silence, play. Read aloud, fold, and carry in your wallet. When self signs, the body opens doors. At work, self builds ecosystems, not battles. Meetings start with goals, end with who does what by when. Emails become 2 clear sentences. Agreements are negotiated before accepted. Small moves, no raised voice yet, they seal the energy leaks that drain the empathetic. In relationships, self heals through ritual, not argument. When your mother slips into criticism, you say, I want to hear you, but comparisons make it hard. Let's talk after dinner. Then you call on time because self keeps its word. When your partner spirals, ego wants to mock. Self places a hand and says, I'm here. I don't agree with the words, but I'm here. You give the bond both structure and warmth that is the self's signature. A subtle sign of individuation is synchronicity. Meaningful coincidences begin to shine, not as magic to surrender thought, but as hints when you align the right chapter, falls open, the old email resurfaces. The opportunity appears after you say an important no. Elena declined unpaid overtime. 2 days later, another team offered her a role matching her strengths. The self doesn't reward with jackpots. It rewards with fit. Now, I invite you to step into this path with us as community. In the comments, write your 3-line declaration. I am loyal to core value. My body will daily rhythm. I will stop funding. One power game you're done with. Add A so we can find each other. When you write, you don't just declare, you activate. And if you stumble, say the wrong thing, act too harshly. Falter, remember, individuation is a spiral. You will repeat the layers of the onion, but each loop higher, you'll notice sooner repair, softer return faster. There is no diploma, only a deepening honesty. When the self takes the wheel, the dangerous empath is not dangerous because they attack, but because they cannot be bought. Not by flattery, not by guilt, not by fear. They can leave quietly, stay with conditions, love deeply without selling themselves out. Power games need an audience. The self turns off the lights and steps into the sun. And here's the strange part. The narcissist, once fed by your energy, suddenly has nothing left to eat. Your danger is not aggression, it is gravity. You carry weight in the best sense, you cannot be easily moved. Imagine we are back at the shore where the story began. The water is no longer a chasing wave. It is the steady breath of a heart that no longer fears itself. In your hand is no longer the rusty key of strained days, but a polished one used to open doors for a gentle no, for a voice with a backbone, for a center that knows balance. If Jung were here, he might smile and say, it is not light that drives out darkness, but consciousness that embraces it. And that is what you've done. Not with loud triumph, but with small, ordered gestures, unplugging the projector of projections, practicing short, truthful words, placing a hand on your chest before replying, laying down the sword after each victory, returning to the self as if coming home. Looking back, you'll see a vertical axis running through it all, from the polite mask without boundaries, through the projector room of illusions, through the calm dignity of the animus, across the swaying bridge of enantiodromia, to the warm stillness of the self. This is not a story of switching sides from weak to strong, from victim to warrior. It is a story of becoming whole. A dangerous empath is not dangerous because they attack, but because they can no longer be bought neither by praise nor guilt nor the fear of abandonment. They do not need a storm to prove strength. They need enough silence to hear the heart speak truth. To carry with you, let me distill 5 core stones to pave the path. The shadow is not an enemy, it is unlived life, needing honest sight, not punishment. Projection is the electricity of the play, pull it back, and the old story powers down. A mature animus speaks little but clear 2 sentences, preserving dignity on both sides. The center is greater than extreme strength. Without tenderness becomes a hammer. Tenderness without spine becomes a puddle. The self chooses, the ego proves. When you choose what aligns with truth, power struggles turn loud but meaningless. Alongside these, keep 5 small rituals in your pocket like bolts that keep the soul house safe. 3 minutes of projection journaling each night. Who did I cast into a role? What feelings rose? What part of me is asking to be owned? A cup of water and an invitation to dreams before sleep. Show me what I still avoid. Each morning, sit 2 minutes with one image from your dream, a key, a wave, a gatekeeper. Before pressing send, use the 2-sentence ritual, 1 truth, 1 boundary or proposal. For big decisions, apply the 24-hour law. Let adrenaline cool, then write the warm, straight version and send that. Once or a month, practice permission, ritual list. 10 things you are allowed to want, read them aloud, fold them and keep them in your wallet as a worldly covenant with your soul. When in doubt, remember 5 guiding questions. Is this true? Do I need to say it now? Does this fit me? What am I projecting onto the other? Which voice is speaking in me? And if you still hesitate, add 1 more. If I stood in my center, what small act would I take in the next 10 minutes? Then do that. The center grows from small steps. You may wonder, will I stumble again? Of course, the path isn't straight. It spirals. You will meet the old rooms again. Mask projector impulse, but on a higher floor. You'll stumble, sooner repair, softer return faster. There's no diploma, only a thickening honesty. And from that, a quiet beauty grows. Your empathy stops pouring into bottomless pits and becomes a stream that waters gardens. Those who need your sunlight will receive it. Those who only want fire to burn will drift away. You don't expel them, you simply stop funding them. Let me end with a lighter image, you in your kitchen, morning light through the window. The phone is face down, no longer in command. On the table lies a slip of paper. Truth, time, tenderness. You drink water, breathe deep, smile at the mirror. You know today you will speak with spine, act with roots, and rest with a lull. And if a storm comes, you already have a house. If this video touched you, leave a 3-line declaration in the comments like, we practiced, I am loyal to. My body will, I stop funding. Add a symbol to mark your stage if you're training boundaries. If you're balancing the pendulum. If you feel the self touching the wheel, read each other's comments, you'll see we are a forest, not a lone tree. If you want more journeys like this each week, deep yet practical, small practices that grow self-trust, please subscribe and ring the bell. A click isn't just for the algorithm, it's you saying to yourself, I choose to nourish. If you know a friend tired of being nice, share this video as if placing a solid chair on their porch. And tell me in the comments, what warm, straight action will you take in the next 24 hours? When you write it, you've already taken a step. When we all write together, the path lights up. Leaving this video, you are not leaving the journey, you are continuing it in the familiar room of your life. And when night falls, if the unconscious sends you a dream of a wave or a key, welcome it like a guest. Remember, you are not just a lamp. You are the one who knows when to turn off the stage light and open the window. Outside, the morning is waiting, and the way home to the self is already beneath your feet.